Hi there, I'm Janette Lane, a craft designer at CraftStash, and in this magazine bonus video, so this is a bonus video for the Simply Cards and Papercraft magazine, I'm going to be showing you how to make this card using the Apple Blossom All Occasion Spring Collection. So I'm using the embossing folders, the die set, and also the stamps, which are super cute and perfect for spring. And so I'm going to be sharing how to make this card. But if you want the full instructions, the full tutorial, you can find that in issue 175 of Simply Cards and Papercraft. So let's jump into the tutorial. To start off my card, I have two pieces of cardstock. One is coral colored and the other is aqua colored. For the coral cardstock, I'm going to be using the roses and basket weave. And for the aqua cardstock, I'm going to be using the butterflies. So let me grab my die cutting machine and I'm going to emboss these and run those through my die cutting machine as normal. So let me put those right in here, these pieces of cardstock right in there. So I have my paper inside of my respective embossing folders, and of course you can always mix and match. You don't have to do it exactly like this. I'm going to be using this Cricut Cuttlebug to emboss my folders. So I'm putting in platform A and then the B cutting pad. Then I'm going to add my embossing folder and another cutting pad on top, and I'm going to run this through. Now that my embossing is done, I want to trim off any of this excess around the edges just to give it a more polished look. So I'm grabbing my paper trimmer and I'm just going to trim this down. I've trimmed my embossed design, so I just trimmed off the excess borders, and I'm going to set these aside because I want to do some heat embossing with my stamp set. The stamp set I'm going to be using is the Apple Blossom Spring Occasions, All Occasions Spring Collection stamp set, and we have some gorgeous wave sentiments that pair perfectly with the wave design in the embossing folder. And what I wanted to do was heat emboss these flowers in white, and I wanted to do that in vellum because I love how vellum just looks so fancy when you heat emboss it in white, especially when you pair it with flowers or florals. I think it looks so dainty and delicate and absolutely beautiful, so that's what I'm going to be doing. So I have my stamp on my stamping block, my piece of vellum paper. You're going to want to repeat this 3 times, but I'm just going to do one to show you. I did some beforehand already. But what I'm going to do is just ink up my stamp with some embossing ink. I love this Nouveau Clear Mark. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite embossing ink. I am done with my heat embossing, and as you can see, it's not completely perfect, but that's okay. I got some embossing powder over here in this corner and a little bit here on the edge, but what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to fussy cut these flowers out, so it doesn't really matter if the edge over here is a little bit gunky, a little bit messy. It's fine because I just want the outline of these flowers. So I'm going to jump into fussy cutting some of these, and like I mentioned earlier, I did some beforehand, so I'm going to cut all these out. I just need 3 for this project. So here I have my 3 heat embossed stamped images. These florals are gorgeous. I'm going to set these aside over here. Before I move on, I want to trim this embossed card at the wave for both of them. So I just want to use the basket design on this one, on the coral. So I'm just going to trim here at the wave. And what I love about these all occasion embossing folders is that you can use the other half for a different card. It's such a great design, a great concept. I love it because there's so many options, so many things that you can do. You can mix and match designs. You can add them to a plain piece of cardstock just to give it a pop of texture. It's absolutely a brilliant concept, and I'm loving the all occasion range. They're great to work with. So see, you can do mixy matchy here, have a completely new card. I love it. So I'm going to save these for another card at a future time. And so here I have my wave, my 2 pieces of my card. And now I'm going to grab a piece of A4 cardstock. I'm going to trim up my piece of A4 cardstock, and I'm using the aqua color because I want to trim this down to the same size as this front panel here. So I'm just going to trim that all the way across. And line that up. Now that my card base, my future card base, is the same size as my panels, I'm going to do some scoring. So I'm going to score this at 1 centimeter. And I'm going to make my second score at 14 and a half. 14 and a half centimeters. And now that I'm done with my scoring, let me set my scoreboard aside, my adorable scoreboard. And now I want to trim off just about, right about there, maybe a centimeter, give myself a centimeter to work with. So here I have my scored card. As you can see, it's basically a square with 1 centimeter score lines at the end. And then my panels are going to be attached on the front like that, like so. Now let me set this aside because I want to die cut the wave, scalloped wave. So let me put that right there. Now I want to die cut the scalloped wave on some peach card, and I'm going to grab this from this die set, and I'm going to die cut that. Okay, so now that my die cutting is done, I want to attach all my panels, and I'm going to be using a mixture of liquid adhesive and also some double-sided tape. Now that my panels have been attached, I want to add my wave, my scalloped wave, and I'm going to glue it underneath the coral panel right about here. And I'm going to have to trim off this excess at the top just a hair so that everything is nice and even. So let me make a mark here with my pencil. And I'm going to grab my paper trimmer and just cut off that little top portion that's peeking out. I'm going to use a really thin line of liquid adhesive right here along the edge. And then I'm going to glue that down here. So now I have my wave die cut attached to my panel here, and I want to cover this up just because it doesn't look very polished or nice and neat. And I'm going to cover that up with my white embossed florals. And I only needed 2. Earlier I mentioned I needed 3. I do apologize for that. It's only 2. Got a little excited because, you know, I love florals. And so I'm using this Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue, and I'm going to add just little dots behind the embossed design so that I can cover up, strategically cover up the adhesive, because it's really hard to find an adhesive that dries clear on vellum. Vellum is very unforgiving, and so what I'm doing is just putting little tiny dots on the white embossed line so that it covers up the adhesive. Now that my card is done, it's time to embellish it with some self-adhesive pearls and also a bow, a satin bow here. So this is going to go right about there, And I've already pre-tied my bow just to make it a little bit easier on myself so that I'm not struggling on camera. And then I'm just gonna put some adhesive here, some of this acrylic glue, which is great. Works great even on ribbon. I'm going to hold that down. My bow ribbon is attached. I'm going to embellish the butterfly side with some self-adhesive pearls. And I'm just going to add these randomly here and there and also on top of the centers of my flowers, just to give it a little bit more of a fancy factor. I do love self-adhesive pearls and gems. They're so easy, and I love that they're not messy, so you don't have to deal with where, like, you know, putting too much tacky glue on them or not enough and them sliding off. But with self-adhesive pearls, it's just all done for you. So all you have to do is just slide them on. I love them and I use them as much as I can. My card is done, and as you can see, it stands up on its own really nice, and you can add a beautiful sentiment on the inside or even a photo of a loved one if you want to display this in your home. So easy, so quick. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. Everything that I used for this video is available at craftstash.co.uk, where you'll find heaps and heaps of inspiration and how-tos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.